I want to welcome everyone today. My name is Laura. I'm the Customer Success Manager at TaskHuman. For those of you who don't know, TaskHuman is a wellness app that offers one-on-one coaching with many wellness coaches such as Tara, and we're lucky to have her here to talk about a morning makeover today. So I think during this time, all our hours start to blend together, and it's really hard to kind of separate the time out and feel like morning is not afternoon is not night, especially for me, I'm working from home, and many of you I'm sure as well. So how do you really maximize your time at the beginning of the day is really what we want to talk about, and set yourself up for a great day and some productive hours. So I have chatted out a link where everybody that attends can get 30 free minutes on TaskHuman, and you can chat with any coach, including Tara, for as long as you wish. So you can take those 30 minutes and split them up, 10 minutes with Tara, 10 minutes with somebody else, and 10 minutes with someone else, if that's something of interest for you. And we're happy to, help you with what coach you want to get. So I do encourage everybody, if you want to turn your videos on, if you want to unmute yourself, we want it to be interactive, fun. We're all here together. You can also chat in questions at any time. And I'm happy to, tell Tara what the questions are and moderate that way. But it's, much better to see your faces. So I do encourage that. Yay, we got one. Yay, and another one. Yay. Thank you guys.
Hi.
Yay, don't be shy. So yes, participate. Tara has a great presentation for us. It only works if you put the effort in as well. So with that, Tara, take it away.
Thank you. So I just want to introduce myself. My name is Tara Mazanek. I live in Cambridge, Massachusetts, with my husband and two small kids. And I'm a personal trainer, health coach, and yoga instructor with over 18 years. And what I teach is I teach women, men too, how to look and feel sexy as they age. I'm 43, going on 44, and I feel like age is limitless and you can feel your best as you age. So what I wanted to talk about is this morning makeover piece. Pre-COVID, I was training 5:30 a.m., getting up in the morning, doing some journaling, some meditation before 6:30 clients. And I really had my morning tackled. And then COVID happened. And then I found myself sleeping until 7, sometimes 7:30 or 8, staying up till like 1 a.m. I don't know if anybody can relate to this. Maybe raise your hand. And yes. I just found, yeah, exactly. So I found myself veering from my morning, and I love the mornings. I've always been a morning person. Now, if you're not a morning person, please, there is no judgment. This is really just works for me, and hoping that I can give you some tips and tricks if you maybe had a thought that you wanted to become a morning person. What I teach is how to maximize your morning and get some things accomplished before 8 a.m. And we're going to talk a little bit about this. So let me see if I can change my screen here. So really waking up in the morning I love this quote, wake up with determination so you can go to bed with satisfaction. And I love this quote because in the morning is the best time to accomplish the most. And we're going to talk about this because there is biologically and physiologically, there's actually a rhythm, a circadian rhythm that our body follows, eating, sleeping, and willpower, believe it or not. And your body responds to morning having the most productive time before 8 a.m. Because as your day progresses, willpower kind of falls by the wayside, and you're less likely to do XYZ that you kind of started out thinking that you wanted to do in the morning. So this whole idea of why is a morning routine important? For me, I am so much less stressed and I procrastinate less if I just get up and do the tasks or the joyful routine pieces that I'm going to share with you in the morning before 8 a.m. I gain more time, especially in the afternoon. It increases my memory. My memory, my focus has gone up. I eat healthier throughout the day, especially if I start off with a really healthy breakfast. My time is more organized and my priorities have really shifted. So pre-COVID, I had priorities set in place where I knew that I was getting up, I had a schedule, I was getting things done. But now that I'm not training live and I'm doing a lot more in-house, I'm sleeping in a lot more. And I had to like nip that in the bud. I had to say, okay, if I'm going to be productive before 8 a.m. and because I know that brings me joy to be productive before 8 a.m., then I need to make some shifts and I need to interrupt some patterns that are really not working for me right now. And that's kind of what I hope to share with you guys is how do we interrupt these patterns to really align with how we want to feel to what we're doing at that moment. And taking those action steps will really help you to align how you want to feel to taking the action to putting in the practice to getting those things done. So moving on. So this thing about the nature of the circadian rhythm, because you have this 24-hour cycle, your most effective time is right after you sleep, right when you wake up. So during the day, the willpower does slowly lose steam and results in a break of discipline. Do you remember, if you ever said like in the morning, you started off really, really great. And then as the day progressed, you had a little bite of chocolate here, or your friends asked you to go out for a glass of wine. You knew you wanted to work out. You're like, oh, I'll work out in the afternoon. It's perfect. I'll do it right after work. But then life got messy. Your boss asked you to stay later, or a project took over. Your friend asked you to go out. So you break the discipline. So if you're getting things done early in the morning, like say a mini workout or doing some journaling or meditating, putting in a load of laundry, and we'll talk about some things that you can do, this will help you to develop a new pattern which will increase the success rate of you accomplishing those tasks or those joyful activities that hit home for you. And I think it's important to understand what those activities are because they're very specific to the individual. So starting the day with a simple win is something that I've always followed. And I mean a simple win, like you wake up and you have a glass of water, or you wake up and you make your bed, providing that nobody's still in it, of course. Or you immediately take action on something that's very simple that you know you can accomplish right off the bat. And for me, drinking that water and making the bed, those two things were like my non-negotiables. And I like immediately feel successful when I do those two things. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like psychological, but having 3 to 5 things that you can accomplish early on will keep you motivated to want to accomplish more. And having a few simple wins, and I say simple, it's not always easy. And I totally get that because it wasn't easy making the shift from pre-COVID to COVID to now how I want to feel now. But I had to go back to what my foundations and my fundamentals were and what was important to me. And I knew that if I went back to that, I would regain the momentum, regain the joy and the pleasure with my mornings again. So it makes a big difference. And beginning your day with confidence, peace, and optimism is so important to how the rest of your day progresses. So I always tell my clients that everybody's needs are different from other people's. And I never want anyone to compare their morning routine to somebody else's. Get the advice and get like bits of, tips and tricks from other people, but then create your own. We all have different schedules, needs, wants, joys, fears, etc. So your routine needs to reflect who you are at the moment. In addition, like your life is going to change. It gets messy. Things throw you curveballs, and it's really important to understand how do we shift and how do we adjust based on those curveballs. So having like 3, maybe even 1 to 3 to start out of these really quick, simple tasks or joy activities right on the bat early on and knowing what they are just gives you kind of a sense of security and foundation. And then you can build from it. If you see that you're becoming more successful over a period of time, then you can rinse and repeat, or you can add on to those tasks or those joyful actions. So be flexible. We're not looking for perfection and we're not looking to compare with anybody else. Rather, finding what works well for you and just really brings you ultimate joy and optimism and peace to start your day. You can't follow somebody else's routine because it won't feel authentic to you and you're less likely to stick with it. So it has to motivate and excite you because that's what's going to drive you and that's what makes you unique. Moving on. So here's my morning makeover guide that, this may resonate with some of you. It may not. I kind of created this phrase, rise, rescue, and ignite success early. So by rescue, I mean, just take back your day by deciding to get a head start. And I think that's really where it starts. It's that decision. why do you want a morning that's filled with peace and optimism? And kind of discuss that with yourself. Maybe just do like an exercise that says, well, why do I want to maybe move from being a night owl to the morning? How is that going to look different? How am I going to show up differently? And what are the consequences if I don't, move some things around and shift some things around? Am I going to still be happy with where I'm currently at, or is it going to make me more miserable? And you don't want that. So discover what brings you joy and make a plan of action. So Ignite, it's important to write down 3 to 5 action steps that you'll take under each thing that brings you joy. You'll be more likely to ignite that fire within you and give you the motivation and discipline. And just remember, success doesn't happen overnight. So it's the day-to-day consistent action steps that we take, and they may be the smallest thing. Like sometimes it's just having a 16-ounce glass of water because I'm remembering to do it, and just completing maybe making my bed. Those 2 things, if that's all I've done during the course of the day, then I really feel like it's a win. I know it sounds trivial, but it's true. And then do it early, by committing to your plan before 8 a.m. or whatever time frame you set for yourself. Maybe you have a night shift that you work and you work at night, so maybe you have to readjust some of the time frames, but really pick a time where you can feel that sense of accomplishment and feel that sense of completion and action towards that person that you really want to feel. If you want to feel like you're accomplishing something within yourself because it brings you joy. And over time, it'll increase your commitment and discipline. So the one thing I always have my clients do is make a joy chart. So creating a joy chart is really just grabbing a piece of paper and writing down all the things that bring you joy that you've been thinking about completing, but just haven't gotten around to it. So you want to categorize that, and next to each number, you place a quick, 1 to 12 or 1 to 10. What is the most important to you versus what's the least important to you, or what is probably something that doesn't bring you the most joy, but it brings you a little bit of joy. Just make sure you categorize them. And then also make a task chart. So a task chart is really making your bed, putting away maybe the dishes right when you get out of bed, any kind of task that's household related, or maybe it's work related and it's a small task. We're not saying make a presentation unless you want to like chip away at a presentation you've been working on. Small little steps. That is what's going to help you stay committed and disciplined over time. Don't recreate the wheel. Don't think that you have to take on this monumental project. Chip away at it. And I've learned the hard way. I used to get up before COVID. I would get up before my clients, work on some presentations or program design. Then I would work out and meditate. It was chaos. So I had to take a step back and say, I still need sleep, but I also need to accomplish these 3 things before 8 a.m. And what does that look like? It has to be simple, and it has to be actionable, and it has to bring me joy. So you want to write your plan. Once you've completed your early morning joy and task charts, choose 1 to 3 items you're going to choose to complete consistently over the next 2 weeks. Once the 2 weeks are up, if you feel like you still want to move through with those 1 to 3 tasks or joyful action steps, then keep those. But if you feel you're ready to add something new in addition, then add it in. This is all about you and creating consistency over time. And the only way you're going to do that is really just by learning what works and what doesn't for you. And really change, it does take time. It's not going to happen overnight. And this is a great quote that I love, that, it's really messy and it's hard in the beginning, but messy in the middle, but gorgeous at the end. If you can get through the hard and the messy, then you've made it. And that really is where change happens. And the hard and the messy, that's on purpose, because then you really have so much gratitude for where you are. And many times I was stressed between the hard and the messy. And I was like, why isn't this happening to me? Why isn't it going faster? And instead I had to look at, okay, well, what is causing it to take this amount of time? And maybe there's a purpose for it taking this long. Maybe I need to complete these tasks a little bit longer so that they're really set in stone. So once your plan's in place, here are just some tips that I put together to help put them into action and put you in more action mode than procrastination mode. Earlier is better than later in the day. Find an accountability partner, which is huge. I call my friend Jill all the time, or my husband. Allow for about 2 weeks for your new habit to fully, take hold. Move your alarm clock to the other side of the room, even if it's your phone. That is huge. I love that one. And especially having a different alarm sound on my phone. Like I always have like an empowering song that wakes me up, and it kind of just like lifts my spirits. And that was something, you know, fairly monumental in having me get out of bed and just get moving. Celebrate your wins. That's huge. You have to celebrate your wins. If you live in this negative space of why isn't this happening, or this is never going to happen for me, and if you live in this kind of like negative energy, you're never going to move forward into that person that I know you guys can all be. So celebrate your wins. Like at the end of the day, just kind of think about it like, oh my God, I'm so glad I did a little laundry. I got 2 sheets done on my presentation. I called my friend. I did like a 10-minute meditation. Whatever it means to you, just celebrate it. It's a really like one, if you take anything away from this at all, it's celebrate your wins. And then just be patient. You know, it does take time, but you know what? We've got time now. So just be patient with yourself, because it'll all really come together as you just put these action steps into practice. And that's the main thing, putting the action steps into practice. Nothing will work or move forward unless you take action. And then celebrate. Here's a picture of my daughter. She's celebrating because I always tell her to celebrate her wins. So celebrate every win. Focus on what hasn't gotten done will only cause more stress and procrastination. So by celebrating wins, motivation and discipline turn to commitment and success. So it's just really something to think about when you are making your bed. Like look at your bed, like, oh my God, I just made my bed. This feels so good. And then just kind of walk away proud and say, I just made my bed. It sounds simple, but it really does work. So here's just a couple of things, successful ideas to get you started. Now, everybody's ideas are going to be different, but here's just a couple of tips to get you started: making your bed, drinking water first thing, strength training or walking or running outside, stretching. Now, a lot of these things do not have to be an hour long. Unless you have an hour, I'm like the strength training, the walk, run, stretching, meditation, 20 minutes or less. Keep it simple. You're more likely to complete the task if you keep it simple and you're consistent. Write a gratitude list. I love doing gratitude exercises. I will say that the Calm app is a great app for 10-minute meditations. And they have this new thing called Spark, which is they just kind of interview different motivational speakers and business people and for like 10 minutes. So you can listen to it on a walk. You know, you can also download the TaskHuman app and phone one of the practitioners. That's a really quick, 7-minute conversation. And that's a win because you just talk to someone to help you work through a challenge that you're going through. Read an inspiring book or some quotes. That's huge. And it's really uplifting. I should even put in here, read some comedy because that's kind of fun. Fuel well. And what I mean by that is really nourish yourself. Nourishing first thing in the morning really sets the tone for the rest of the day. And you're more likely to eat better if you start the day with a nice, light, nourishing food. So like fruit, maybe a veggie omelet, maybe even some soup. Like sometimes I'll start my day with gazpacho. It's cold out. Sometimes it's hot rather. And I don't really like smoothies. I like them, but I'm not a sweet smoothie drinker and I prefer salt. So I love gazpacho first thing in the morning. It sounds crazy, but it's good. And eat slowly. Eating slowly will actually help your body digest and you'll feel fuller faster. Do a quick load of laundry. Clean out a messy drawer. Silence your phone for the first 30 or 60 minutes upon waking up. So those are just some quick tips, quick ideas that you can implement, and feel free to add to this list. And that's pretty much it. I think that the most important thing to take away here is consistency and keep it simple. Follow through with what your list, whatever you put on your list, keep the list simple. Don't make it overcomplicated and just select like 1 to 3 things that you know you will be committed to over time. So here's my information. Feel free to reach out to me. You can follow up with me on the TaskHuman app. After this call, I'm going to put in some hours and you can follow up with me. You can also connect with me on Facebook or Instagram or email. I'm happy to answer any of the questions that you have. And I would love to hear some of the ideas and some of the tasks or daily action steps you took. And you can use me as an accountability buddy. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you received a lot of really good nuggets and tips and tricks to take away. And thank you so much, Laura, for having me on.